Jody O'Hara here with the Tomcat Insider, joined by Coach Brian Oakes and Coach Todd Miller from Stone High School. Coach Oakes, you get into the win column last Friday night, 28-17 over Harrison Central. What kind of load does that take off you and the guys to finally get that win out of the way?
Well, the kids work hard, and we demand a lot, from our kids, and the guys are working hard. And it's always nice to get a win, to show for your hard work.
You started out a little slow, maybe a little flat. You come out turnover on the first possession. Still a little bit of plague with that turnovers, penalties things hurting you a little bit. Touchdown on the second possession, however. Third possession, the penalties get you. You get a penalty when you're going for it on fourth down, and you do have to punt the ball that time. Talk a little bit about that, getting those jitters out, that early stuff that seems to plague you a little bit.
Well, we just, got off to a slow start. Our first drive down, we have a bad snap and turn the ball over, so that kind of shot us in the foot. We were moving down, and when you're playing a team gets, like Harrison Central, it's very important that you cash in on every opportunity you get. Because I was telling you, through 3 quarters, we only had 23 offensive plays. So when you play a team that runs the football and ball control, it's very important to limit your mistakes and definitely have no turnovers and cash in every time you have the football.
They did once again play ball control too. That young man James Booth picks up 177 yards. It's tough to find an answer on that defensive line. Apparently, they're moving your guys out of the way still a little bit. You coming up with anything different for this week?
Well, we're just moving some guys in and out. We're just still kind of looking for some answers up front. We know Ramsey Sellers can play up front, but we're kind of looking for some guys that can step up and roll in there with him. And also, obviously he was not there, and obviously we missed him. Cade Amaker, who had, the first week he had 14 or 15 tackles, and then comes back against George County and has 19 tackles. Regardless, Cade Amaker, D. Arrington, whoever that guy is, a guy that's, averaging 15 or 16 tackles a game for you, you take him out of the lineup, and it hurts.
Obviously, D picked up the slack there, missing Cade. He had 17 tackles Friday night against Harrison Central. I had that in the notes for a little later, but talk about that. Cade, you got another report from the knee specialist, the orthopedic surgeons, and how are things looking?
Cade, he'll dress out and he'll be ready to go on Friday. So we'll just play him, as we see fit or sparingly or whatever we do there.
I'll tell you what, if you're out there on the Stone defense and you see Cade come out and get on the field, it's got to give you just a breath of relief, a sigh of relief that guy's there, because he's got your back.
Well, he helps us, as I said earlier in the year, he helps us get guys lined up. Some guys maybe not in position, or he recognizes the formation, before some of the other guys. He's like our quarterback on defense, and obviously when he's not there, it kind of hurts.
We're talking about knees anyways. It was scary in the second half Friday night when Clint, Coach Miller immediately was oohing and ohing. He got bent a little unnaturally. His leg, I guess his cleats planted, and when they pushed him over, his leg went the wrong way. Right. How's Clint going to be Friday?
He'll be ready to go. That's the thing about Clint. Even if he was hurt, I think he would do his best to get out there on the field and fight through it and play for us.
Let's take a little break, take a commercial break. We'll come back in a second. We'll talk about the second half of Friday night's game.
Hudson Farm Supply at 336 Hall Street in Wiggins is your home for all things farm related. With feed, seed, fertilizer, farm clothing, horse tack, and pet supplies, including wormers and vaccinations, Hudson Farm Supply can meet your needs with a friendly, knowledgeable staff dedicated to the highest levels of customer service. If you have a farm supply related question and the staff at Hudson Farm Supply do not have the answer, they won't rest until they get it. Proud supporters of Tomcat Athletics, Matt Hudson and Joel Miles invite you to stop by Hudson Farm Supply, sit a spell, and rehash this week's game.
One lamb billet, one crack, and 2 corn.
Thank you very much.
Come shop with us at Hudson Farm Supply.
We're back at the Tomcat Insider. Second half Friday night, Coach, you guys just absolutely dominated. 21 unanswered points in the second half, and yeah, you gave up a touchdown there in the fourth with I think 36 seconds left in the game. A meaningless score, really.
Right.
You guys handled them very, very well. What kind of adjustments did you make in the locker room?
Well, we just, as we always do, we go in and, see, what's been working for them, offensively. And, we make our adjustments defensively. Hey, do we need to, shift this guy to an inside technique or, line this guy up in an outside technique? Do we maybe need to blitz a little bit more and that kind of thing? So, we just kind of get together there and Coach Archibald and Coach Weir and, Coach, a lot of those guys do a good job on that side of the ball, making those adjustments. I mean, like I said, you come back out in the second half and basically, hold them to no score. You add it up, they got it. I mean, they did get, cash in and get 7 points right there at the end. It was a cheap touchdown, but I mean, I like the adjustments we made on that side of the ball. And, offensively, we made some adjustments and put the ball in the end zone, 3 times there in the second half.
Okay, Coach, it truly was kind of like a book I read in high school, A Tale of Two Cities. It was truly a tale of two halves. I was joking with Jody on the air the other night. I'd have loved to have been in the locker room to hear the halftime speech. But I know you can chew kids out all you want. It's not going to make them play any better. You had to make certain adjustments. Y'all did that. You come out the second half, you completely dominated the third quarter. And just talk about some different guys getting the ball. It seems like you spread it out more in the second half with different receivers and running backs getting the ball.
Well, we went in at halftime and we had run a play, right there in the first half. We may have run it a couple of times, and the safety was flying up. We, sitting there talking to Coach Beach. Said, Coach Beach, let's try this. And we come back out in the second half and felt like it would work. And he was like, let's go ahead and do it now. And I was like, Anyway, we wound up going ahead and doing it, the first play. We knew we were going to be able to cash in on it. And first play, I mean, Darius Jones, they bite on it. The safety runs the alley. And Darius wide open, Clint hits him and, go in right there. And then, come back and, make a big special teams play later on in the game with, Justin Smith blocking the punt. That was a big momentum deal there for us as well. So, just proud of the way the guys came back out in the second half and, cashed in on some opportunities.
Like Coach Miller said, you had in that second half, the whole game really, you got 3 running backs get touches on the ball, plus Clint gets 106 yards rushing. D. Arrington picks up, I think, 70 or 80 yards rushing. Clint throws for 200 yards. You got 5 receivers catch passes. That is an incredible offense. You got that many answers. So if they key on one of your kids, you got something to answer.
Well, I don't know if I call it answers, but we just got some guys that can make things happen when the ball's in their hands, and they're just doing a good job right now of doing that. When the ball, if it does happen to come their way, I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to do, and that's make plays. And like I said, D's doing well. I mean, Terrence James has made a few plays for us. Darius Jones, D. Arrington, Josh James. I mean, the list goes on and on. Shamon McGee, Dalvin Wilson's even caught a few balls. The thing that we're doing there too is we got to take into consideration that a lot of those guys are playing on special teams for us, and a lot of those guys are playing on defense for us. So I mean that's kind of the beauty of this thing. We're running guys in and out. We want certain guys in different situations, or certain guys in certain places and in certain formations. I know that's a lot of certains,
right.
But you know what I'm saying. We're just trying to keep the guys fresh.
Coach, I know there's 2 sides to every story, and with Clint getting all these yards rushing, that's great. He's a heck of a runner. Of course, the other side is our line not blocked? Why is he having to get all them yardage? But I know with him getting hurt there in the fourth quarter, I know a big emphasis this week is going to be on protecting Clint. Right. And he's probably not going to be able to run as much. And we're seeing some good things from the offensive line. Talk about them a little bit, Coach.
Well, I mean, that's what I told Jody earlier this week. These guys are making plays. Clint's rushing the football. Darian's running rushing the football. It starts up front. Those guys, none of those guys had ever started before on Friday nights. And, it's still a work in progress, but you can't forget them. You know, I mean, they're out there, and that's where it starts. It's in the trenches, and like I said, I mean, Clint. You know, I wouldn't say that he's under stress every time he takes off and runs football. You know, he may just see something out there and just takes off and runs. And you know, they're like I said, they've come a long way in 3 weeks, and we're expecting big things out of those guys.
Well, I know they opened up a big hole when you went under center on about the 5-yard line. Clint did, and he handed it off to the tailback. There was a huge hole on the left side of that
Walk
line.
through that thing.
Yeah.
And you know, you talked about it being a work in progress. Clint, D, Josh, your receivers, McGee, Redeemer, none of them are going to make those plays if he doesn't have some protection from that offensive line. Like you said, you know, he's looking and running sometimes. Did you say he just sees something? He's not necessarily in trouble. We saw several plays Friday night from up in the booth where he just had all day back there in the backfield. He dropped back in that pocket and he just had his pick of receiver. He looked all over the field before he finally made a decision.
What a fake he gave on the
Oh,
first
once
offensive
again.
play of the second half.
Yeah.
You know, we thought he was going to throw that out route, and then there he goes and he throws the, you know.
Yep. It's
Fly.
just incredible some of the fakes that he puts on. It's 2 weeks in a row he's pulled a fake that should make a highlight reel on
I think the coaches should get some of the credit for drawing that up in the dirt.
There's no dirt at Ale Man Stadium. We're going to take a break, go to commercial. When we come back, we'll talk about last week's players of the games. We'll also look forward to Friday night when the Tomcats travel to West Harrison down in Gulfport. We'll be back after this.